What's good, everybody? It's the Aggie Coach, man. I want to get back into this, into my rules, the FAT8 Rules Standard. I got a real interesting set of rules in the standard that I didn't even get a chance to share with you guys the last time because I just felt like the video was running over. I was using up too much. It was just too long, so I figured that I would save it for a later time. So here, I want to get a chance to share with you guys some of the really characterful things that you see in the FAT8 Conference during our games. I'm sure that you guys noticed that sometimes during the game, there's a break in the game where the coach may have done something, or the referees may have collectively done something, or the team responded in some way. This isn't something that I'm doing on the fly, guys. These are rules that are actually written into the game. So I'm going to share this with you guys really quick. With the referees, these are called bonehead calls, right? And so sometimes during a football game, referees will just make a bad call. It's just a bad call. It's ridiculous. So if you guys listen during the game, you will hear the crowd booing. If you go back to the North Carolina game, I believe it happened in the North Carolina game, you guys will actually hear the crowd responding to a bad call that the referee makes during the game. I know that sometimes when the bands are playing or the student section is loud, you may not be able to hear it. Sometimes it doesn't really catch your attention. But in this video, I'm going to just illustrate to you guys how these rules work and where this stuff comes from. Yeah, it's something that I'm bringing to the game. It's something that I created. But you know, it's something that I've experienced in real football games from me playing football and watching football on TV. You know, these are experiences that I had an opportunity to live through, and I wanted to try to find a way to bring it to my game so that the FAT8 Conference feels more like a real football game. And the FAT8 Conference is meant to be characterful. So a lot of times what can happen is sometimes the referees can make a bonehead call, can make a bad call. And in the FAT8 Conference, these bad calls can sometimes swing the tide of the game. So a well-coached team can sometimes lose momentum. So, of course, a lot of times this can also get coaches in trouble if the coach doesn't know how to keep his temper in check. So in this video, I want to share some really unique rules that I have. So what you're looking at here, I'm going to have to move the camera a second, guys. So what you're looking at here are my randomized calls. Okay, right here. And I'm going to flip it over just for a second, and we're going to come back to this so you guys can see. And on the second page, you will see that coach leadership rules. So every coach has a leadership value, and that's why it's important for each FAT8 school to have a coach present on the field. And beware, because your coach's leadership for the coach doing really stupid things during the game, his leadership can drop, and once his leadership value reaches a certain level where he's just doing really stupid things, the referees can actually boot his behind out of the game. So and you can get technical penalties called on the team. So let's just get into it really quickly, and I'll try to keep this down. So randomized calls. This is just some of the ideas, just some of the things that you guys see during game. So player tackled, and I'll go through this. So if the ball carrier gets knocked down by a defender, but contact was not made front of base, remember in our conference, tackling is front of base, you roll a dice. On a 1, 2, or 3, the referee calls the player down. On a 4, 5, or 6, the referee calls a horse collar tackle for a 15-yard penalty. Now, I want to show you guys how this works. Now, remember, the coach has a leadership value. The way that this is done is every coach in the FAT8 Conference starts at leadership 8. And every time you challenge a play, you subtract 2 points from your leadership. But you also have to consult the chart to see how the coach responds. Some coaches, as your leadership diminishes, a coach's temper will also diminish, and the coach will do stupid things during the game. So just to kind of show you guys how I'm having so much fun with this. So let's say this wide receiver here during the game catches the ball on this quick slant. The wide receiver turns it up, starts going up the field, and let's say this free safety is about right here, right? The wide receiver clips the free safety's base, and say the wide receiver falls down, and the free safety keeps moving. Now, it technically was not a tackle because it was front of base. This can count as a wide receiver having really poor balance and just tripping. It can count as him, dropping his knee to the ground. But the referee at that point will have to make a call. And so this is how this works. So when something strange, some type of anomaly like that takes place in the game, the referee will step in, blow the whistle. The referee will then make a call. Now, we need to see what the referee says. On a 1, 2, or 3, the referee will just call the player down. You just say, hey, his knee was down. Or on a 4, 5, or 6, the referee might make a really bad call and call like some type of illegal tackle, right? So here we go. So let's see what the referee says. Okay, so the referee here, in this case, calls the player down. His knee was down. Now at this point, the coach, if the coach disagrees and the coach thinks that it's being treated unfairly, the coach can use 2 of his leadership points to challenge the spot of the ball or challenge whether or not the player's knee actually was down. In this case, so we're going to flip it over now. So in this case, what happens is, what I do here is, when you're challenging a bad call, consult the chart below. So what I do is over here, you roll a dice 1 through 6. Okay, this is the coach's reaction to the call, right? So here's some of the things that can happen. Coach runs. If you roll a 1, this is really bad. The coach runs onto the field, curses the referee out, and he suffers a -2 leadership penalty. Okay, the referee's response to that is right next to it. Okay, the referee's first response is a personal foul, which is a 15-yard penalty. If the coach does that twice in a game, the coach is ejected from the game. Okay, if you roll a 2, the coach screams at the referee. He suffers a -1 to his leadership. The referee's response, warning to the sideline and a 5-yard penalty. Okay, if you roll a 3, the coach throws down his headset. The referee issues a warning and just runs down the field. Nothing there. Okay, if you roll a 4, the coach calls the referee over to discuss the call. Nothing happens. The referee discusses the situation with the coach. If you roll a 5, the coach puts both hands up in the air. Nothing happens. The referee just ignores him and just runs up the field. And if you roll a 6, the coach takes the high road. The coach nods his head to the referee. The coach will receive +1 leadership for showing a professional attitude. And the referee will absolutely do nothing. So now we need to find out what kind of coach do we have. So we're going to say here that the coach did not like the call the referee just made. We're going to say, as a coach, I'm saying his knee was not down. That is a bad call, right? So how am I going to respond? So let's see how the coach responds. Let's see what the coach does. Okay, I rolled a 6. So the coach takes the high road. The coach just nods his head to the referee and says, okay, I'll take that call. The coach will get +1 to his leadership. So I subtracted 2 for my leadership. I was leadership 8. I subtracted 2, which brought me down to leadership 6. So I can still challenge another call later on if I need to. And because I took the high road, I got a +1, so it makes me leadership 7, which is good to monitor my leadership because it lets me know how many challenges I can make. I can't make more than 3 either way. But if I run out of leadership for something stupid that I did, I can't make any more calls anyway. And in this case, the referee simply does nothing. So that's the way that worked. I'm just randomly doing this. Okay, so if I had another one, this time he rolls a 5. So basically the coach would just put both hands up in the air like, what the hell was that, coach? What the hell was that, ref? What was that called? And the referee would just simply ignore him and go down the field. So that's how that works. So when you guys see that in my games, that's what's taking place. That's actually what's happening. This isn't stuff that I'm making up. It's really unique rules that I've worked out. Here are some of the other calls, and then I'm going to stop this video because it's getting long. In the case of a fumble, okay, both teams touch the ball at the same time. Okay, so on a 1, 2, or 3, the ball goes to the home team. On a 4, 5, or 6, the ball goes to the away team. So that's how that happens. So in a case of a fumble, right? So in the case of a fumble, so let's say player is running, player falls down, player fumbles the ball. This is where the ball is, and let's say both teams player get to the ball at the exact same time. Who gets the ball? So this is how that's determined. So basically what the referee will do, the referee will make the call. It's a 1. So in this case, the referee, on a 1, 2, or 3, the referee will say the home team got the ball. Then the away team's coach can, if he has experience points left, the away team's coach can say, okay, he can throw in the flag, okay, I'm challenging this play. I'm challenging this. So when that happens, the coach has an opportunity. Then what you it's the same thing. You will roll for the coach, and you will see how it plays out. So that's what I'm doing. So when you guys are watching the game and you see that kind of thing happen, you see the coach on the field talking with the referees. Sometimes in one of the games, as a matter of fact, in the Ohio State game, this happened right at the half. The Ohio State coach actually ran out on the field and was actually fussing at the referees, and as a result, they ended up, that ended up getting, it ended up becoming a very big part of the game, and it could have swung the tide of the game. So that's so these are just some of the unique rules in the FAT8 Conference that I use, that I've developed to make the game really, really, really interesting, really characterful. I like to get the coaches involved. I like to get the players involved. There are a few more rules that's coming down the pike. I'm going to be doing later on. There is going to be a rattled rule where quarterbacks can get rattled during the game. So that's going to be a rule. There's going to be a home field advantage rule, which I'm going to be implementing later on down the road when I can actually do away games, home games, and away games. So the away team can have home field advantage too. So there's going to be some rules for that coming down the pipe. So I got some real interesting stuff coming, but for the most part, the whole idea is to make the experience as realistic as possible and to have the atmosphere actually be able to interact with the athletes on the field. And in addition to having the coaches interacting with the game, the coaches interacting with each other, and the coaches interacting with the referees. So that's where we at, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was long. I apologize for this being long, but I really wanted you guys to get an opportunity, for those that are interested anyway, to get an opportunity to see what I'm doing. All right, man. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Peace.